Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's me, the Ludio Double G, and I'm here with the great Boomslang. Boomy, say hello.
Yes, I am.
uh,
Little JoJo reference for you.
yeah. So a lot of things have been happening. Holy shit. So since we last spoke, what has happened, Boom? Fill us in, and then
The
I'll jump in.
PS5 showcase event. We learned a lot. We learned about some launch titles.
We
Some
have.
titles are going to come after launch in 2021. The pricing points for the digital and the standard editions of the PlayStation 5. We also got shown the way that they're like bundled in wireless headset looks, and I thought that was really nice. That actually caught my attention.
If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put some pictures up of everything that we've been talking about. But if not, I mean, if you just do a quick Google search, you'll see it. Yeah, so that happened, and we here at the Angry Belly are big PlayStation people. I've been PlayStationer my whole life.
I'm actually independent, I guess.
Right. Because you switch over and whatever.
Yeah, I flip as things go. I have no such loyalty.
I am pretty loyal, and it's great that I'm loyal to such a great company. Not
Sony
to
has
say
been
that
kicking ass
not
for
to
years.
say not to say that I wouldn't buy an Xbox, because I would. But you know,
If I
PlayStation
had
has
a
always been
reason to have an Xbox, I would have an Xbox.
right, and PlayStation has just always been my home since I have had the PlayStation 2, and all that. So let's talk about some of the games that have been announced and we've seen gameplay of, and then we'll move into talking about the actual thing, and then we'll go from there. I want to talk
Is there anything that
about.
you want to talk about first?
Yes, I do. I want to talk about Spider-Man, Miles Morales,
Miles Morales. That was a good one.
because I think it's very interesting how what the reports were about it leading up to it, that it wasn't a full-fledged game, but instead it was something similar to DLC on steroids, in the sense that
Well, what it seems like to me is that it's going to be something like Infamous Last Light,
yes, exactly,
that
Infamous
it
Last Light,
was to Infamous Second Son.
or the most recent Uncharted game that was that wasn't
Right,
Nathan
Lost
Drake,
Legacy.
Lost Legacy, where it was you could buy this game and it wasn't necessarily a full-fledged game, but it was enough to make you happy and enough to be
Or
like
Freedom Cry
Freedom
to
Cry is a
Black
good one.
Flag.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'll definitely be
Bigger than
purchasing that.
expansions, smaller than full games.
Yeah. I will definitely be purchasing that. But that's one of the things that caught my eye the most, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. It's my favorite Marvel hero, and Miles Morales is important to me as a Hispanic boy.
Viva la raza!
Yes, sir. No, nonetheless, I'm very excited about it. I enjoyed the gameplay I saw. I've enjoyed the trailers and stuff like that. But what are your thoughts on it, Boom?
I am extremely excited, not from like the sense that because I don't read. Well, I haven't read any. Not that I won't ever, but I haven't actually read any Miles Morales centric stories. I always just kind of see him in stuff like Spider Verse, like the really big crossover stuff. Obviously, I saw Into the Spider Verse, the film, and that was fantastic, and I loved everything about it.
Yep.
So I know the character of Miles from like a tertiary standpoint.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I know like what his powers are and stuff, and I was excited to see some of the Venom shot be used, but I had never seen it used to the extent that it is shown in this trailer, where it's like big area of effects and then like throwing enemies up in the air, still like webbed by electricity. So that was really hype, and I'm glad that they're differentiating it so much from Peter's gameplay, because despite Peter having different supers depending on what suit tech he was using, this looks even like further removed from just like a simple suit tech replacement. Like the combos are completely different. The hip hop in the actual fighting sequences, impeccable, delicious.
I, on the other hand, have read a little bit of Miles Morales in the comics. He's appeared in Deadpool / Spider-Man, and so I've always, and in addition to the Spider-Verse, in addition to the animated movie, of course, and all that. So I think I have read a little bit more than Boom, not a whole lot more, but I've definitely read a little bit more, and that is my go-to title for this. So if you see me streaming this game on Twitch, keep your mouth shut and just watch. Don't say anything. I'm just kidding.
Oh, and it was actually I don't know if it was like shown here, but it was announced after the fact that Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales, is going to come out on PS4 and PS5. It's going to be cross-generational.
Yes, 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 yes. So even if I don't have a PS5 at that point, I'm assuming I'll get one as soon as I can because pre-orders are crazy. I will buy it on the PS4 if I have to, but I prefer to play on the PS5, but whatever. Let's talk about I wanted to also bring up Harry Potter. I thought that was interesting to bring in Harry Potter. I of course love Harry Potter. I think it's great. I mean, it's a pop culture phenomenon if anything, and it's a very safe choice to make a game out of because people will definitely buy it. I think I might buy it, assuming that it continues to look very nice.
I might even get it because I enjoy Harry Potter, and we, for whatever reason, never got like a real Harry Potter game outside of the Lego Harry Potter.
Well, I actually did there.
Am I
No,
right?
well, not necessarily, but there was one for the. Was it the Game Boy Advanced SP or the DS Lite?
Oh, okay. Well, how long ago
That
was
was
that?
like a long time ago. I remember.
It was
I
a
remember
long time
getting.
ago.
No, it might have been my Game Boy. I don't remember. I had one back in the day. It was Goblet of Fire, and
Oh,
that
okay,
was
yeah.
like the last Harry Potter game I played. I don't remember anything else other than that. That was like
I mean,
not
like aside
story
from the mobile
driven.
games, right?
Yeah, not story driven and stuff like that. So I'm particularly excited about it. I hope that it continues to look really cool because that was just recently announced. The Spider-Man, on the other hand, has been announced for a while.
Yeah. Hogwarts
Um,
Legacy was actually leaked a couple years ago, and I've been waiting for them to announce this.
really, I don't remember that leak.
Yeah, this was leaked a long time ago.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Uh, at least 3 years ago.
Wow,
But
interesting, interesting.
I, at least for me, for Hogwarts Legacy, I it was just recently confirmed that what's her name, the author, Rowling. Yeah, how she wasn't attached to this game at all. So I mean,
Good. She's been kind of
yeah,
out there lately, bro.
yeah, trans exclusionary.
Yeah. So be nice to people, please. Jesus Christ.
How the
Anyways,
mighty have fallen.
I know, right? Anyway, that's not the conversation for now. But yes, be nice to people. But in addition to that, there has been some other cool announcements, and I'll let Boom kind of drive the boat for this one. Let's talk about Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 16. Okay, this was leaked. Well, like the existence and the development of 16 was leaked a while ago, but obviously we didn't know anything other than it's happening at some point. But we been knew that they're going to keep making more of these. They're popular. It's like expecting a new Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
but not to the same like frequency.
Yeah.
I am very excited because it's doing something very different. And anyone who's played like multiple Final Fantasies will know that each Final Fantasy exists in wildly different worlds and is only linked loosely by the existence of aeons slash summons, Moogles, and crap like that, like the usual stuff, like some of like the black mages and stuff.
Yeah.
But otherwise, wildly different worlds, wildly different circumstances, wildly different time periods. I guess Final Fantasy 16 is going straight for the classic fantasy setting of like high medieval fantasy, which hasn't been seen since like Final Fantasy 1 and 2. By 3, 4, 5, and 6, there were like airships and mechs powered by magic, the Magitech armor stuff. Final Fantasy VII was literally set in like a future dystopian world with like rockets and giant uh, reactors literally pumping the energy from the planet out of it. So it hasn't been like a simple fantasy game for a long time. But I'm glad they're doing this because I think sometimes like it's different like for people that haven't been playing for a long time and don't know like the difference between like the settings, but it's very refreshing to see this, and it looks like it's going to be following Final Fantasy 15 and how it wasn't a traditional, and well, the 7 remake as well, how it's going to be like an action RPG as opposed to the traditional turn-based, which I'm not opposed to either. I interacted with the turn-based first. I'm not against it. I know people that don't like the turn-based and it turns them away, but I mean, I love that crap. But action RPG is also really fun. I've played action games for the majority of the time that I've been playing video games. But it also looks, at least for this moment, that there's only the protagonist. And if that ends up being the case for like a one character party the entire game, that would be wildly different because every other game's based around parties and multiple characters. Not to say that this one won't, but they haven't shown any.
Right,
But
right, right.
that could also be the fact that this game comes out next year, so they're probably just waiting to reveal some more and more side characters. But I'm really excited. Something I noticed too is that this game, I think it's going to end up being rated M as
Oh,
opposed
interesting.
to
To T, right?
rated T for like the majority of the series, if not all of them, because was Dirge of Cerberus M? I don't know. But there are clearly people dying horrible deaths in this trailer. A guy gets smashed by a boulder from like the fight.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
What looked like Titan and Shiva just from like the crossfire, and then later there's a guy that's straight up beheaded in front of his like kid prince, and then the blood from his neck is just spurting, and like the stub of his neck is just barely off frame. So it's going to be a lot more violent than previous entries. And I'm interested at the very least to see how violent it ends up being, because I'm cool with violence, right? But I'm not like, oh, if it's too violent, I'm not going to play it. But I'm more interested to see what it ends up being like, whether it's Witcher 3 levels of violence or if it's like Doom levels of violence. I mean, it's not going to be Doom because Square Enix is a little about violence, anyways. But I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I just hope that not much changes, because Square Enix was notorious for changing and rewriting and restarting development on 15 on multiple occasions. It even got a different name about halfway through.
I know Boom's very excited about it. Maybe I'll finally jump into a Final Fantasy game, but let's move on and talk about one of my games I've been playing for a long time, which is Resident Evil. We got Resident Evil 8 announced. Resident Evil 7, I haven't played fully just because of things getting in the way and all that, but I have it on VR, and during October, I'm going to be playing it on VR on Twitch, so stay tuned for that. But Resident Evil 8 had like Chris and Leon and all that, and then Resident Evil 7 kind of took a different approach.
With the first person.
Yes, excuse me, with the first person, yes. I'm like, my brain is just mush right now. But in Resident Evil 8, you play as a new protagonist called Harry Spring, who's a British agent, and you're going to investigate an abandoned farm. So that's interesting.
2 trailers, including this one for 8. And all we know right now is that Chris is back, beefier than ever.
Yeah.
Best boulder punching boy.
Yes.
And he is investigating a village.
But there hasn't been any new thing.
Like new information?
Yeah, new information, excuse me.
Well, there's the return of a merchant. We got that confirmed at the end of the trailer.
Oh, that's right. You're
so they're going back to at least having like merchants and items and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the limited inventory space thing that they had for a little bit in the earlier games.
Well, the cool thing that I actually found earlier online was that Jason Statham's going to be the main character, who is voicing.
Oh, so it's not Chris.
No, it's Harry Spring, according to.
Oh, it's okay.
But
Chris is involved. That's what's happening.
I would assume. And then Idris Elba is actually involved as well in the
nice.
in one of the characters, and Sean Bean. So we'll see how that goes. But
Sean Bean. Wow.
That's what it said. That's what it said on the fandom. I said fandom. What the fuck am I even saying? The fandom website. Resident Evil 8 fandom website.
Okay.
So I guess we'll see how that comes to play. I'm excited, and yes, I know I saw Chris was coming back. So I miss Leon, truthfully, but you know, whatever. Yeah, I'm super excited for Resident Evil 8, and we'll see what happens with that. And it's supposed to come out next year, 2021. I'll definitely be purchasing that. I love Resident Evil games. So let's move on to the next thing, which is what they announced about the PlayStation 4 itself. So they've announced pricing. So digital will be $400, which is you can just buy games straight off the PlayStation Store, and you have a X amount of space and all that. The next thing is $500, which is going to have the disc drive, which is going to be obviously like your PlayStation 4 or whatever, just you're not tied to only buying digital. So for whatever reason, the disc drive is $100 more. Everything that's come out about the PlayStation 5 in terms of specs is the biggest they've ever done, that's what should be happening
Yeah, generational leaps.
as new systems are released, and it seems like Xbox isn't following suit in that, which
Well,
is
the
mind-boggling to
Series
me.
X has better specs than the PS5 for the most part.
Yeah, but okay, sorry, continue.
Like aside from like certain things,
Right.
but the Series S has been confirmed is not powerful enough to backwards play games that were Xbox One X enhanced. So it's weaker than the Xbox One X. And so because the next gen is going to be 4K support,
Right.
it's going to support 4K.
Yeah.
The Xbox Series X does not do that in the normal sense. It's upscaled to 4K. So there's like technical magic
So
happening to make it look like 4K.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's putting the picture through a lot of processing. Essentially, is what it's doing.
Yeah, to make it look a lot nicer.
Which is not great. But I've never been a huge Xbox person, so I don't want to sound like I'm bashing Xbox. But needless to say, it sucks that they aren't able to keep up with what PlayStation has been doing.
Well, I don't think that it's keep up. I think it's they're not making the right decision making as far as like making their consoles and marketing them and from like a consumer standpoint. So, well, I mean, aside if you we can say that the Series S is consumer friendly because it is.
Okay.
My only issue is that they're doing this thing where instead of paying off your Xbox the full way through, you have the option to pay it off like 25 or 15 bucks a month depending on the system that you choose.
Right. Which is like a
And
finance
so
kind of thing.
and those end up being a lot more expensive if you go that route than if you paid it off in full.
Right, because then you're basically
You're paying for like a console and a half at that point.
yeah, because there's interest built in there in a sense, not really, but like, you know.
So yeah, it's consumer friendly, but only if you buy it kind of upfront. If you tried financing an Xbox this generation, you're gonna get screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, financing things in general is always a fucking hoot.
Yeah.
But
I think aside from that, the rest of the PlayStation showcase was really strong. There were some other announcements, like the Five Nights at Freddy's was kind of whatever. I didn't really
yeah.
Devil May Cry 5
Oh, Devil
Special
May Cry
Edition
5, yeah.
I
I
very
watched that whole
exciting.
thing. Yeah.
They're bringing back Virgil. Everyone's very excited.
Yes. I would like to say something real quick about the PlayStation. I've always had issues with storage. I think everyone has probably, but I like that the storage for the PlayStation 5 right off the bat is 825 gigs.
That almost worries me.
But wait, yeah, I was about to actually continue. I like that they went up from 500, but you see games like Warzone that are like 200 fucking gigs.
200 gigs.
I wonder if because they're adding more space because the other games are going to be so big. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
And so I have a 2 terabyte drive connected to my PlayStation 4 currently. So assuming that you can do external storage, which it says it does support it, USB HDD support external storage, I should be fine. But even then, let's see how much longer my 2 terabyte hard drive will last with this new generation that's coming up in terms of how many games it can hold in addition to what is already in the internal storage. So, I mean, we'll see.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, and aside from everything else that was announced, I'm kind of meh about everything else. Just because I would like to, and not to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but I want to see it when it happens. That's just kind of how I feel about the whole thing, because I think recently we've been getting hype for games and then they've just been straight garbage. like Avengers.
Well, how do you feel about them actually showing a lot of gameplay? Because they showed gameplay
Well,
for Demon Souls,
yes,
Deathloop,
yes, yes, yes.
Oddworld,
They did.
DMC. Actually, they showed off gameplay for everything but Five Nights and God of War, Ragnarok.
Oh, God of War. Oh my God. I'm excited for God of War.
Time draws near.
I'm so excited for God of War. God of War is so fucking good all the time. Um,
Oh my god, bro.
dude,
God of War was so good.
God of War is awesome. So I am excited
I
about God of War.
love it.
But other than that, I've been getting into this mindset, and maybe this is not a good mindset to have. Of I want to see things as they come out, like and see
Yeah.
and play them,
These
and
last couple years, we've been burned bad.
we have been.
God, so bad.
I mean, Avengers. I mean, more recently, Avengers was bricking PlayStation 4s. Like it wasn't a great story. Like it was, whatever.
It was
Everyone has their
super
problems
buggy.
with
It's still
it.
super buggy.
Yeah,
I
and
was actually watching a streamer and a massive bug happened. So
holy
what
shit.
happened was is he was playing Hulk, someone else was playing Iron Man, and at some point his camera, like for his character,
Yeah.
switched to being Iron Man despite him still controlling Hulk and the other person controlling Iron Man.
What the hell? That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Like this game came out busted and they still haven't fixed all the problems, and it's this problem that has been growing and it's been getting exponentially worse throughout the 2010s
Yeah. Yeah.
that developers, and I mean, well, the developers themselves I don't think are like the cause of this problem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
obviously a problem with the studio heads.
Yeah.
Just, hey, put out the game, we'll patch it in a few months. And that's the problem. Because they're doing it, they're using this mindset of just put it out, we'll patch it, and it'll be fine in like a half year to a year from now. And if they hate it, they hate it. They already paid the money. And that's a massive problem because now we have massive disparity between the quality of games at launch. Because we'll
Yes.
have games like Anthem,
Yeah.
like Avengers.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
like No Man's Sky.
Oh
We'll
my
have
god.
games that don't get either good way later
Which is
or
bad because
games that have just dead audiences from the get-go.
that sets a precedent for other games when these
Yeah.
big titles
Oh
do
man,
shit
we
like
made
that.
all the yeah, and most games, most of their money comes in the pre-orders and like the first week buys.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, as long as we get them to buy it really fast, we made our money. We'll just fix it at some point.
Right. Right.
And that it's the same. Madden 21 is another
Oh,
example.
everyone hates Madden 21,
Madden
dude.
21, not only has Madden been just copying their old games and just doing minor upgrades, I think this year specifically, they added like 5 or so heads to like the Hispanic looking skin color.
Oh.
Like, ah, there's
Yeah.
like now a total of like 10, and half of them are like almost like like you play dress up with like 4 items and you just kind of switch them around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So half of them look exactly the same.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
then there's the problem with all of the bugs. The game came out busted, and I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back because the the Madden games, the 2Ks have been coming out pretty much just being rehashes
Yeah.
of they're just
Well, and they still
minor tweaks and upgrades, resets of their career modes. That way people buy more stuff again, and then roster updates, and that's kind of all they are. Because they come out every year.
and they still make their fucking money, so whatever.
No, and they make their money,
But
especially in microtransactions.
But to the point of we've been burned a lot in video games. That's kind of why my brain is like I won't lie, I am excited, but I'm also in this mindset of okay, let's just see what happens when it comes out because games always get delayed and they always get whatever. Sometimes not even released at some points. So that's just my mindset about it right now. But today pre-orders went live and they obviously in like a blink of an eye they got sold out. So the cool thing that I read is that there will be a larger supply of PS5 consoles than the PS4 back in 2013. So, if you're looking to get your PlayStation 5, you can still get it. There are people selling their PS5s
wouldn't worry about it.
on eBay for insane prices, so just stick around and you'll be fine. You'll be able to purchase your PS5 even though they got sold out really fast. Around the holiday season you'll be able to get it quickly
because they're expecting to draw in the base they have now,
the Christmas noobs.
Yeah, people that are coming in from Xbox, because Xbox is probably at the worst it's been their entire run.
Yeah.
I personally think they're in a worse spot than they were when they announced the Xbox One, and that was a horrible spot.
No, it was.
I think they're personally worse.
I think they're losing money, man.
They pretty much have nothing that PlayStation doesn't do already, and for the most part, better.
Yeah.
And that's before we're talking about exclusives, especially with the PlayStation Plus collection. That's just going to be PlayStation's Game Pass, and I'm sure they'll update it.
So yeah. So we'll have a lot of stuff with that as well. Xbox doesn't have any big release titles. Halo, their biggest one, got delayed
out.
The Halo. I mean,
Infinite.
It's not looking good for them. But again, like I've been saying, we'll keep an eye out. We'll see what happens, and as we know big things, we'll of course talk about them and see and bring them about the podcast. But let's move into some quick comic book news, comic book-ish news. We have the Batman resumed production. I don't know if you saw that, Boom.
I did.
Robert Pattinson officially got cleared. I wanted to bring it up just because we had talked about it previously. Robert Pattinson got cleared of COVID. And so we were led to believe that they continued production even after in the beginning of September when he got tested positive. But they actually said that they all quarantined for 2 weeks and made sure that nothing happened. And even if they tested positive, if they were around Robert Pattinson for more than 15 minutes, even if they tested positive, they were still isolated for 14 days. So I think that was a very smart choice. And I'm happy to see that everyone's back and healthy and they're wearing masks and all that, according to everything that I've read. I'm excited to see what happens with Batman, and I'm glad Robert Pattinson's doing okay and it wasn't anything detrimental to him. I assume that at the very least. So yeah, and then in addition to that, we had the Mandalorian trailer season 2 come out. And I gotta say, it didn't reveal anything new. I'm not any more excited about it than I was before, but nonetheless I'm still very excited about it, and we will still be watching it.
It was a good trailer.
I thought it was a good trailer, don't get me wrong. No,
it's a really good it's a good trailer. Like, I'm excited for it, but I was already really excited for it. It just didn't do any more.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say, right? It didn't do anything more for me.
Like, they showed a few like new actors.
Yeah.
Kind of like here and there. Like, we know that Sasha Banks is going to be playing a Jedi.
Yes.
From the looks of it.
Yes.
But that pretty much looks like it confirmed, Mandalorian's in The Mandalorian. There's going to be fight scenes. Right.
And it confirmed our suspicions of him wanting to take Baby Yoda back. That's not his name, but we'll just call him Baby Yoda for now.
The child.
Back to wherever they're from, and he's like, oh, these species have been fighting with the Mandalore for a long time, and he's like, oh, dog, what? Why would I want to do that? But anyways, obviously that's going
to take you back to the mean space wizards.
Obviously, he's still going to do it. I mean, that's the show for you. But yeah, that's something else that's been happening. One of the other big things that has happened, and it's kind of been all over Twitter, is the casting of She-Hulk. How do you feel about that, Boom?
Yes, I do not care.
Oh, dude.
If that is who they casted, then that's who they casted. I'm not like one way or the other about it.
And
glad we got someone.
Yeah. And so we have the casting, and it's Titania. I have her name. Titania Maslany. That's her name.
Yeah, I have no idea who this is.
I don't know who that is either. But we'll
whether that's my fault or not, I don't know who this is.
Right. I don't either. And Twitter's happy about it, apparently, according to everything I've seen all over my feed. So hopefully it all works out. Sorry, we're not cultured enough to know who this is, but at the same
I'm
time.
happy for the people that know who she is and is excited.
Me too, absolutely. And I'm also, I used to be kind of a stickler when it came to casting, but now I'm kind of just like go with the flow. You know, whoever gets cast, who gets cast.
Yeah.
Unless they're god awful human beings outside of acting, then I will care. But I mean, you know,
No, yeah.
this
Like Johnny Depp's ex-wife,
Amber Heard. Oh my god, yeah,
Amber Heard,
yeah,
terrible human
yeah, yeah,
being,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and for some reason DC is still pushing her. They still love her for some reason when it's not that hard to find a new redhead.
So in addition to that, we got WandaVision confirmed for 2020, so that's happening soon. And then we got The Flash is gonna start filming soon, and we'll keep it locked here, and we'll try to follow that because I think Boom and I are very interested to see how they're going to work out
Invested in this one.
this DC business.
This is their make it or break it moment.
And then in terms of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we saw that they revealed the Thunderbolts. So
Yes,
that's interesting,
very excited because
and
the
I'm excited
Thunderbolts
about that.
is one of my favorite Marvel teams.
Yes, 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 yes.
I love the Thunderbolts because guess who's on the Thunderbolts?
Oh, who boom, who boom.
Thunderbolt Ross, Red Hulk,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
some X-Men show up on there sometimes. I love the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts were involved in the Damnation storyline. I love that storyline.
Yep. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get something cool as time goes on. But for everything that I've just mentioned right now, quickly, it's all just very day to day. Like things come out and they're like, yeah, maybe is that thing, you know. So we'll keep an eye out for the Flash for sure. But yeah, these are just things that I wanted to bring up and be like, hey, this is happening, by the way, if you're, you know, if you care. But yeah, boom.
Actually, it's already been speculated that Songbird has been casted for.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Songbird is kind of one of those characters that, and I think her powers are cool.
Yeah.
But she's just kind of for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, she's really kind of one note from like what I've seen. Like obviously I don't see a lot of Songbird.
I guess I guess if you care, we'll talk about it at some point. You know, because like you said, it's one of those things, right? Like it's just a one note, you know, character for you. So one trick pony, maybe you could say.
Yeah. If they can make Songbird as interesting as like Groot or Drax.
Oh right, yeah, like kind of put one of those spins
like what they
to
did
it.
with,
Yeah.
Like make them like really like interesting.
Yes,
for
of
me
course,
to like
of course.
enjoy their related media.
Yep.
Oh, then I'm in. But I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of neat, Songbird.
Thank y'all for listening and tuning in. We'll definitely be back next week with some more talks, with some more news, more of how Boom and I are feeling about X, Y, and Z. So this is kind of a short one. The last 2 weeks have been a little short, but we've been pounding away at working hard, or at least I have. I know Boom has been kind of helping me, being a bit of a emotional support with all that. So that's why these have been a little short. But next week we will of course talk about all things geeky that we can talk about and want and feel the need to talk about. So as always, remember to have fun, be safe, and to keep those bellies full. And I will see you next week.
Bye.